Montana's beloved author, the late Ivan Doig, called livestock brands the classical language of the American West. Doig and his wife Carol gifted the Montana Department of Livestock a donation to make the history of those brands more accessible to the public. If you'd like to learn more about your own family brand, you can acquire a lot of information online. In our Montana Moment, from Helena, Kevin Mackey and Poetry of the West.
Brand records have been compiled by the Montana Department of Livestock and supplied to the Montana Historical Society. The Historical Society has digitized those records from the oldest registered brand to those registered through 2010. Brands registered after 2010 haven't been compiled yet.
This is an important piece of family history. It's an important piece of Montana history, in terms of the cattle industry and genealogy for families. Families really think of it as part of their heritage or Montana heritage.
You can either do it through our website where it says View Historical Brands, and it takes you to a link to the Montana Historical Society, so you can look back at all of those old records.
In a state that has more cattle than people, it's probably no surprise just how many brands there are.
We have 51,000 brands, a little more than that.
Brand registrations were put in place in 1873, back when Montana was still a territory.
And it was the Wild West, and there were rustlers and thieves. People needed to be able to protect their property. Really, they did then, and they do today, is applying a hot iron brand.
And yes, cattle rustling still happens. This cowhide's a rustling case the department investigated about 40 years ago.
This was the original brand, this Y, and they added this on here to make a K. So if you look at the back side of this animal, you can actually see the difference in the hide.
Today, DNA may verify if a brand has been altered.
So I think brands, one, it proves ownership on livestock, but it really is the fabric of the history of Montana because it proves, one, livestock ownership, but two, it ties back to these legacy ranches that have been in the state of Montana since before the state was a state.
Through the Montana History Portal, Debbie Tamke has done extensive research on her family's many brands.
It's part of the legacy of where our ancestors started. It just measures the grit and the tenacity that my family had.
First, she wanted to learn more about the 7L brand. It has ties to her mother, Judy, and her siblings, who are descendants of the Rose, one of Beaverhead County's oldest ranch families. Debbie learned the 7L is one of Montana's oldest recorded brands.
1879, June 11th.
But the 5, her great-great-grandfather's brand, is even older.
1874.
The Historical Society's library manager, Dan Corrales, shows us that's only a year after Montana's first recorded brand.
There are really several, but the first registrations date back to February 10th, 1873. And the one at the top of the list is Double X, registered to Poindexter and Orr. And that's the first brand that we have in our records.
The Poindexter and Orr Ranch was one of Montana's preeminent cattle ranches. It's now known as the Matador Ranch in Beaverhead County. This is the branding iron of another Poindexter Orr brand.
So this is a square and compass, and it was actually registered by Poindexter and Orr in 1873 in Montana, and it is a sign of the Masons, so the square and compass. It's still registered today, still active today, down in Beaverhead County.
Many of the oldest brands aren't as refined as the square and compass. They're rather primitive.
Yeah, all these original records, you can see that they're typed out, but the records are hand-drawn.
Brands are designated for different locations on the animal, like right hip, left thigh, right shoulder.
With some families, it's a way to trace where their families moved throughout Montana, because that location travels with them.
Dan sees this research as a mission, like completing a puzzle.
I find the mystery part fun, connecting the dots. As a historian, I like to do research and fit those puzzle pieces together.
The lingo of livestock brands is quintessential Montana. The lazy M, reverse B, A hanging T, E bar H, all lyrical poetry of the West.
It is poetry and it is history.
For Debbie Tamke, it's the poetry of layers and layers of her Montana roots.
Cattle, horses, freedom, wide open spaces.
From the Cross Ranch, Kevin Mackey, NBC, Montana.
This is Centennial Livestock in Horace Prairie, and that's your Montana moment.